So, Thomas, can you please explain to us what the report Nature in the Urban Century is about?
Yeah, it's a new report that we are launching here, and it deals with one of the really burning issues for this whole convention, and that is what is happening with biodiversity in rapidly urbanizing regions in the world. We have some of the regions in the world that are very rapidly urbanizing, and those coincide also with areas with very high biodiversity. So this is a way to put that on the agenda. We need to start thinking carefully, how do we manage urbanization so not to destroy precious biodiversity in the future?
And how does this link to other work that the Stockholm Resilience Center has been involved in the past?
Well, already in 2010 at the CBD COP meeting in Nagoya, there was a decision that the parties, the member states, requested an analysis of how urbanization is affecting biodiversity and ecosystem services. And we led that work from Stockholm Resilience Center, and it resulted in several publications. And now this one is a further step in going deeper and analyzing the effects. And also there are new data and new projections for the future we need to visualize and put on the table, which are very important.
So how much global habitat will be impacted from urban growth, and where will that impact occur?
Well, mostly in the global south, and it's a huge area. It's the size of the country of Colombia, if you look just 2 decades ahead. And it will also occur in some of our very vulnerable, precious areas. And particularly I would point to coastal areas where we will have a very rapid urban growth. And we also know that coastal ecosystems are precious and very crucially important to reduce effects of climate change, for example, sea level rise and increased frequency in storms. So wetlands and mangroves are really important. So here we have an issue where local governments really need to engage and manage urbanization in a way that we don't put population in a very vulnerable situation in the future.
So what fraction of the world's protected areas will be potentially impacted from urbanization?
Well, that's astounding figures that came out of this analysis, that just in a couple of decades, 40% of the world's protected areas will essentially be urban parks. And this again points to the crucial role of local governments to engage in finding ways of managing urbanization so we are not threatening or spoiling biodiversity and these protected areas, but also view these areas as assets in development.
So where are natural habitats most essential for climate adaptation?
Well, as I said, in coastal areas, there's one, and more than 60% of the world's population live in coastal areas. So we need a huge focus on how we could manage, restore wetlands, mangroves, and other types of habitats in coastal areas to protect cities.
And what are some solutions that cities can offer?
Well, cities represent where all the action is, in fact, so they will offer all the solutions. They need the support from the national government, but the cities and the local governments are actually the ones that are implementing everything. So it's just that these issues need to be on the agenda, and need to be on the agenda in a way that they could view this not as something extra they have to work, but this is the core and it has additional values for human well-being and health.